Wemby took a pay cut upwards of $50 million total, and it's to maximize the Spurs winning a championship in the future.
Wemby putting his money where his mouth is.
I can make a whole video talking about the political implications of all this and how the players union, quite frankly, are pissed.
NBA PA Executive Director David Kelly had this to say in reaction to Wemby's new contract. Quote, "We think the players should make decisions for themselves and we should not be pocket watching."
Now look, I understand why he did it. This video, I'm not going to criticize nor judge anybody that does it. I will just explain and outline how these players are being put in a very sticky predicament that, of course, the owners are being left off the hook for.
And that he wants to be the best player of all time. He wants to fulfill every ounce of his immense potential. That's going to require winning multiple championships. And so I think he deserves praise for prioritizing winning over maximizing his paycheck. He just watched Jalen Brunson do the same thing and sell.
And now people are bringing up that, well, it worked out for Jalen Brunson, right? This is the move. This is the meta. We're in the quote-unquote pay cut era. Not just that, but we all know in San Antonio, this isn't foreign. We've seen Tim Duncan basically cut his paycheck in half to try to give the Spurs more room to sign players so that they can compete for more championships. It is as though now players are being told, you can't win a championship unless you take that pay cut. It almost feels like it's an ultimatum now. It feels like you can't win a championship and get the money that you deserve to get paid by the NBA rules. And I'll be honest, I don't agree with this take. I don't agree that it's worthy of praise. I'll be honest, if anything, the precedent that was set by both Jalen Brunson and Wemby, I think it's terrible, right? Obviously, other players have done in the past, right? But I'm talking about specifically in this new CBA. Jalen Brunson was really the first star player to where, he took a major pay cut. And the way it was framed at the time was, don't you worry, Mr. Brunson. You'll get on that money back in a future contract that, you could be eligible for after the fact, which is, 5 years, $418 million. So it wasn't just a bet on the team, maximizing the roster to win a championship. It was a bet on himself for the future. And, Wemby's agent probably spun it the same way to him. Hey, man, you take that pay cut, fuck it. That probably means you'll be eligible for an extension that's huge. That's the one last big payday for Brunson. But for Wemby, it's going to be one of many if his career is as fruitful as people expect it to be. And now with Brunson winning the championship, it seems like more people are more open to this idea of taking a pay cut because now it seems like, it actually will work. It actually will be fruitful. You can have your cake and eat it too in maybe 4 to 5 years' time. Look, man, Jalen Brunson, he's eating good. But who's to say that the next person that takes a pay cut, that it works out for him too? Who's to say that the owners that convince you to do so, right, hire a front office that is as inept as any, and you end up with a roster that is full of guys that are overpaid and that, quite frankly, do not provide enough in terms of winning a championship. They don't have enough. Brunson was fortunate enough to trust in that front office and Leon Rose, who actually managed to make a trade for Karl Anthony Towns, went bold and got Mikal Bridges for the amount of picks they gave up. That could have easily not worked out. A lot of people didn't have the Knicks not just winning the East, but winning a championship this year. Look, this easily couldn't have worked out. And there's this thing called survivorship bias. I think a lot of people are aware of what that is. And where you often see survivorship bias be talked about is, when it comes to self-made billionaires or successful CEOs, right? People that have, quotes of, Steve Jobs or Bill Gates framed up on their walls. It's like, okay, those are the successful ones that have ventured in this industry. What about the ones that tried to do the same and just did not succeed? We don't think of those people. We don't think of how many more people do the same things that Steve Jobs and Bill Gates tried to do, but didn't amount anywhere close to the amount of success that they did. Right? That's what survivorship bias is. Same thing with Jalen Brunson. Because with the way the media talks about this, they will always frame this around Jalen Brunson's recent situation with the pay cut and how he ended up winning a championship just despite taking the pay cut. Or as they say, as a result of taking the pay cut, they were able to maximize the roster around him. And so any player should be able to think themselves, hey, it'll result in a championship if I take a pay cut. Dirk Nowitzki, I think a lot of people would like to use him as an example of a player that took a pay cut that was, really good at the sport. People will tell you in 2010, this guy was eligible for a $96 million extension. He took instead an $80 million extension. He took a $16 million pay cut and then resulted in the next year they won a championship. Oh, 4-year contract and the cuts being $16 million total. It was a $4 million a year pay cut. So only $4 extra for the front office to, add pieces. And look, they did add pieces, but Dirk Nowitzki, that wasn't the only pay cut he took. In fact, in 2014, much later, motherfucker was offered a bag by the Rockets and the Lakers. He rejected it. He decided to stay in Dallas and took a massive discount at that too. He could have made more in Dallas as well. Who would think Dirk Nowitzki bringing this franchise their first ever championship? He is well due for a big payday. Nope, he takes a pay cut. Why? Why? Well, Dirk's case, he's probably loyal to the organization, and he's like, look, I don't care too much about this money. But again, this is one of those things that owners will hold against you. And what people don't realize is it could easily be pushed to its very limits.
The system should not require a player to carry all of that burden. We should not put a player in the position to carry the burden of keeping a team together.
Okay, Wemby takes a pay cut so that guys like De'Aaron Fox, who's getting paid money, Dylan Harper and Castle in the future can get money? Or are the Spurs going to also go at Dylan Harper's desk and say, hey, yo, bro, we need more pay cuts, you know what I'm saying? Yo, Stefan, bro, yo, your money, yo, can't lie, bro. I don't know if I can give you the max yet, bro. Honestly, can we take a couple million off, bro? Like, we still trying to build a good team around Wemby, you know what I'm saying? I think people are being naive to think that the owners won't push this to the very limits that it can be pushed. I mean, if I get the top players to, get pressured to taking a pay cut and taking all that burden, I can get the lower level players to also do the same thing. I mean, what leverage do those players have? Not much. That's tough. Jalen Brunson, hey, he just negotiated one. Hey, Wemby, biggest star, best player in the game, he just negotiated one. Hey, come on now. Like, we need some extra cash to build this team around you, buddy. And honestly, these owners are going to make it so that the players will feel compelled to do so and, not be a team player if you just take the money. You're so selfish, buddy. This only stands to benefit the very top owners that don't have to spend nearly as much money as they should be. Okay? Let's be honest with ourselves. These dudes make billions, if not hundreds of millions every year off the backs of these players, off the backs of the play that happens on the court. And I'll be honest with you, it's quite frankly crazy that we're at a point now where these owners get to save more money instead of spending more money on winning. We're here praising the players for taking a pay cut, knowing that that money is going to go to other players that won't make as much as they will in their careers, which is fair. But at the same time, why is it that we're not putting the onus on the owners to not just pay up those players, but also pay up the players below them in the pile? I think, honestly, it's one of those decisions that I understand why it's done. I understand why players are doing it. But I think people need to be mindful that it doesn't always work out. Okay, you're not always going to end up, being in a situation where you take a pay cut and, good things happen from that. Your front office, you could be putting your faith in a very stupid front office. Look, what if a Sacramento Kings player took a pay cut? I can't lie. That would be career suicide. I'll be honest with you. All right, bro. Yeah. You know what, bro? It is what it is, though. We live in this current society. And I also feel like as a top player, Wemby, Brunson, guys like that, they need to set an example. The player empowerment movement, as sad as it was to see guys go on super teams, team up, try to win championships, the intentions of that movement were very good, honestly. At the heart of that movement is that players should be able to dictate their destinies, able to maximize their earnings, and also have the team be maximized around them to win a championship, right? Having your cake and eat it too, but except it's actually realistic. People will say you can't have your cake and eat it too. I will say I beg to differ. The owners clearly have enough cake in them for that to be the case, honestly. And if they don't, guess what? It's on the fans, it's on everybody to pressure them to sell the team to a higher bidder. Look, man, I'm tired of these cheap-ass owners, and I'm tired of this bullshit CBA that's basically hampering players' potential maximum earnings now because if you want to win a championship. No, fuck that shit. I could win a championship and make my bread, nigga. Not often that you'll hear me say the N word, bro. I am black. In fact, I am black. I've said this before, but hey, it's just how passionate I am about a topic like this, bro. These guys, they deserve all the money they get paid, bro. They are the reason why the game is as big as it is. Like, it is what it is. I get it. It's the system. Look, man, we can hopefully have a conversation that's healthy enough in the comments to where we don't have to argue about semantics and about points that weren't ever made in this video. All right, bro. I'm gonna see y'all later. Peace out.